welcome to Inner Circle Guidance. Today we're going to be doing a collective reading, but for those of you who are new to the circle, hello and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every single day, and if you're looking for daily short tarot readings, check out my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. If you're looking for manifestation tips, check out my Instagram threads. And if you're looking for personal services or personal readings, I offer them through my website, innercircleguidance.com. Let's find out what the circle needs to know today. Interesting. So, the Magician was the card that fell out. We have the Ten of Pentacles. We have the Three of Pentacles. We have the Seven of Swords. We have the Fool. We have the Emperor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. Can't count today. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so I was definitely picking up on sort of a stuck energy when I was shuffling the cards. Well, maybe stuck isn't the right word. It's more of like a resistant energy. I guess stuck kind of indicates that things aren't moving, whereas resistance implies that things are moving, but maybe not at the pace that you would like. For those of you who don't feel sort of like you're not where you want to be at the moment, or like you're waiting on sort of your blessings and your miracles and abundance to come in, this is not your reading. For those of you who do feel like you've been feeling a little stuck or like things aren't moving forward at the pace you would like, this is definitely a reading for you. So right off the bat, with the Eight of Pentacles being on the bottom of the deck, being the overall arching energy, the Eight of Pentacles has to do with doing the work and reaping the rewards. This has to do with focus. This has to do with priorities, with time management. Hey! So that's interesting because my dog just wanted to play with my cat and my cat was not having it. And I don't know if you all could hear him sort of yowling in the background. So sorry about that. But that energy right there tells me that there's sort of this energy between two sides. It's like one part of you really knows what they need to do, is gung-ho, motivated, inspired, and wants to move forward. And the other part of you is sort of in this, like, I don't want to say stagnant, because it's not that you're not moving, but you're sort of like resisting the movement forward. You're sort of wanting to stay where you're at. And it's funny because I'm not even picking up on that you're wanting to stay where you're at because you're satisfied, because there's definitely not a satisfied energy here. But you're staying where you're at because there's this sort of like hesitation. It's like you know that you're about to step into some major potential for yourself and fulfill that, but it's like there's some sort of hesitation here. We'll keep going through these cards, but I'm hoping to find more of the reason behind this, like why there's such a hesitation to move into your higher purpose and move into that bigger energy. Obviously there's fear involved, but I feel like there's something else. I feel like I kind of went off track there for a second. I mean, it's all still relevant, but that wasn't originally what I was talking about. I think I was talking about the Eight of Pentacles and how it has to do with building. So the Magician being on the deck and the Ten of Pentacles being next to it is indicating to me that you're very close to fulfilling some major goals, some major wish fulfillments. There may be certain areas of your Ten of Pentacles where you're going to be coming into a lot more abundance, and a lot of change is going to happen very quickly because you are manifesting in a heightened state at this time. Now, this could be because of the energies and the portals in astrology and things that are still open. They're open until January, but it could also be that you are just in a state of your spiritual cycle where you are able to manifest things with less resistance. But it's funny because a lot of you are still having this resistance, and I just heard it's because you're used to it. It's almost like because there's less resistance and you don't know how to react to that, you are creating the resistance internally yourself. Wow, that's a big breakthrough. I'm just going to let that simmer and sit for a second and let that kind of sink in. That's a major breakthrough for you to have and for me to hear during this reading. I'm a little speechless actually at the moment. I haven't been speechless in a reading in a really long time. So Wow. What's great about this is if this is resonating with you, then you at least now know what the problem is in order to move forward. You have all the blessings and things that you want coming in, but there's this sort of fear to step into this better version of yourself. And I think part of it has to do with the way you feel others will perceive you. I'm picking up on that you've been through this sort of spiritual awakening and enlightenment phase where you're kind of coming out of it a very different person than you went into it. And there's sort of this energy right now of you are having to leave behind things that are no longer resonating. You're having to sort of move forward with faith and trust that anything you've lost will be given back to you better and replaced with better. But there's still sort of this expectation. And I feel like for some of you, the expectation actually lies within yourself. For those of you who are shifting careers and things at this time, there's this sort of like you've been going after something for a really long time. You're realizing it's not exactly serving you. For some of you, you're completely changing careers altogether. For others of you, I'm seeing that you're doing something that's sort of in the same vein of the career that you were in, but it's like a totally different path in terms of how you go about it. So the best, I guess, example I can think of for that right now would be like somebody who's an actor deciding to become a filmmaker or become a screenwriter. It's like in the same vein, but it's also a totally different career, if that makes sense. So I'm very much picking up on, though, there's a part of the hesitation and part of the resistance as well is that you sort of have this expectation of yourself of like, well, I put all this time and energy and invested all this time and energy into this particular career, this particular path, if it's not career for you. It's almost like you're disappointed a little bit that you weren't fulfilled by it. It's because you're realizing it wasn't quite in alignment, but there's still sort of this expectation. It's not that you're afraid to release it. I'm trying to think of like how to word this because that's not quite the energy that I'm picking up on. It's more of this like resistance because you're frustrated. You know what? It's shame. That's what it is. It's almost like there's a shame here about not pursuing and continuing to pursue the same path, even though you know it's out of alignment. And you know it wasn't quite for you, and you know you're going to be more happy doing this other stuff. It's like there's this sort of expectation you're holding of yourself of like, well, I spent all this time and energy. Why didn't it work out? Why am I now being guided off this path? There's sort of all these questions that you're having. Those questions are causing a lot of self-sabotage. I mean, this whole reading is kind of about self-sabotage because there's this sort of like faith that you're having to step into in a way that you haven't done before, but it's more faith in yourself than anything else. You need to trust that you are making the right decisions and that these changes that are happening are going to bring about much more favorable outcomes for you. But you have to sort of grieve the past if you need to grieve it, or you sort of need to get over like this whole energy of expectation that you're having for yourself or expectation that you feel pressure from others. For some of you, it's both. And welcome in this new change. Welcome in these things because there's going to be a lot more happiness, fulfillment, abundance, stability that's going to be coming in, but you're sort of preventing it from fully coming because of this energy. You have to remember that alignment oftentimes is more about releasing what is not yours than it is, oh, I have to change these things or change myself in order to be happy. It's more about releasing what is not yours and was not yours to begin with, or releasing what is not yours that you've held on to that was yours for a time but is no longer yours. A lot of you have not gotten comfortable yet with leaving things when the expiration date is here. A lot of you are still holding on to these things even though you know they don't serve you, and you've got to get to the root of why you're doing that, because I think aside from creating the resistance yourself and these things that we've sort of already discussed, there's something else there, and I can't quite decipher what it is. There's this sort of energy here where there's something that you need to dive deeper about, and that could be because this is a collective reading and it's going to be different for different people. But I'm definitely picking up on with the Emperor. Remember that the Emperor is a very logical, practical, rational kind of energy. For some of you, you're falling too far into that energy again. You're not allowing your feminine energy of creativity, of intuition, of nurturing, of emotion and passion to play a bigger role in your life. And I'm very much seeing that this next era is going to be more of that, because you have to remember that in order to feel things very deeply, to be very happy, to be very joyous, you have to be more vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable, you cut yourself off from the full experience of that. And for some of you with this whole energy, part of the resistance that you're creating for yourself is that you are throwing yourself into spiritual clarity and spiritual guidance and maybe my readings even. Some of you need to take a step back, maybe even take a break from my readings, from everything, to stop being so overly influenced by all the energies and stop using that as an excuse not to move forward. Because for some of you, I'm picking up on that you're definitely doing that. There's this sort of like, you actually do know what it is you need to do and what you want, but you're sort of like using this whole, oh, I need to find clarity as an excuse to not move forward, and you're creating that resistance for yourself. I'm already telling you the root of a lot of these problems, but like I said, there's still something deeper there that you're meant to uncover. So I'm going to leave the reading here, and I highly recommend that if this is resonating with you, you take some time to really journal or meditate, talk with your guides, try to figure out what that deeper thing is. Why are you so afraid to step into your purpose? Because for a lot of you, it's an ironic fear, because I'm picking up on this sort of old soul energy where it's like, a lot of you know that you have a very high purpose for being here, and a lot of you fear not fulfilling that purpose or reaching your highest potential. But for some reason, you're sort of still like not stepping into that energy, even though you know it's right around the corner, that there's this big leveling up happening, but you're sort of like not doing it. There's something you need to get more clarity on. There's some deeper thing that you need to figure out that's going to help you move forward. That clarity is not a distraction. But some of these other things that you're doing and asking all these questions and doing all the spiritual research and things like that are a distraction at this time, because you're not actually using it for that particular clarity, which is the thing that's preventing you from moving forward. You're sort of just like pretending like you don't know anything or have any direction. And it's because you know the signs, you're getting the signs, but you're sort of ignoring them because there's this resistance here. So I hope that makes sense, and I explained that in a way that's easy to understand for you all, but I'm highly recommending that you do this work, because as we've talked about in some other readings recently, doing the spiritual work is what's going to bring this in. It's not how hard you're working. It's not how fast you're going. It's not racing towards the finish line. It's doing the spiritual work, because until you put your spiritual practices and your manifestations into your life, integrated in a way where you're in alignment and you're on the right path and it's part of your daily life and your routine and habit, it doesn't matter how much you manifest or how quickly you manifest it, there will still be a lack. There will still be this sort of unfulfilled feeling, because in order to receive that full abundance, you have to do the work first. That's why this 10 of Pentacles has been such a difficult sort of energy to step into. It's not because abundance has to be hard. It's because in order to really fully experience all aspects of the abundance, you have to step into that energy, which is often very different from where we are at or where we were at when we decided to do that, which means that a lot of changes, a lot of awakenings, and a lot of enlightenment has to happen. We've been talking about this 10 of Pentacles for over a year now, for those of you who have been following me since the beginning. And this channel is all about the elevation of self, the deeper understanding of self, the accountability. I really feel like this year, with all the work that you've been putting in for the last year, you're stepping into a very big new chapter of your life, but you've got to get past this resistance that's keeping you from doing that. All right, I just went off on a whole nother tangent. So we're going to jump right into your affirmation for this reading is, I am removing the obstacles that I am placing before myself and coming to a deeper understanding of self. And as always, may your life be full of light, full of love, abundance, and gratitude. I'll see you next time.